Well, the mysterious sightings leading to bipartisan calls for answers. Joining me now, top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, Congressman Jim Himes. Thank you so much, Congressman, for being here.
Thanks for having me, Jackie.
So, Congressman, contradictory statements can erode public trust, and it appears that that's already happening within the government. Here's Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis.
I don't believe that the United States of America, with its military capabilities, does not know what these objects are. And what I'm asking, and what we're all asking, is for you to be straight with us and just tell us what is going on.
The White House is saying that there's no evidence of a national security or public safety threat, no sign of criminal activity or malicious intent or foreign involvement, but also they don't know what these systems are. They don't know who is operating them or why or what they're capable of. And those messages are inherently incompatible. So do you believe the relevant federal agencies are really unable to answer these questions, or are they just unwilling to answer them? And do you think the government actually knows what they're dealing with here?
Yeah, Jackie, there's a lot of us who are pretty frustrated right now. The answer we don't know is not a good enough answer. When people are anxious, when they're nervous, and this has been true, since we've been a species on this planet, people will fill a vacuum with, their fears and anxieties and conspiracy theories. And, oh, my God, there's an Iranian mothership hovering off the coast of Asbury Park, or it's the Russians or it's the Chinese. And so my frustration is that the FAA in particular, which is the agency of jurisdiction for our domestic skies, ought to be out, Saturday morning saying, let us show you a picture of the number of aircraft, commercial and private and military, that go over New Jersey in any 24-hour period. And when people see that, they'll be like, oh, my God, I cannot believe how many aircraft. And then the FAA should say, we've got about 800,000 registered drones in this country, and there's probably several million more that aren't registered. And, so just putting information out there to fill that vacuum would be helpful. So we haven't seen that. And so as a result, you got Senator Andy Kim going out with the state police in New Jersey, filling that vacuum, hopefully with truth. Now, let me say something that I know with confidence. It is not the Iranians. It is not the Chinese. They aren't Martians. I know that's very unsatisfying for people who want a Hollywood movie out of this. But
how can you say that, though?
Look, in the absence of good information, I can say that because I spent all my time as the ranking member of the Intelligence Committee watching what the Iranians and the Chinese do. And you know what they don't do is put a bunch of drones that we could easily recover over the continental United States. The Chinese learned that lesson, of course, with their spy balloon. And you're right, I can't say it with 100% probability. But to Nicole's point, it's just the military is amazing at what they do. An aircraft carrier has 6,000 amazing people on it who will defeat the Iranians. What they're not very good at doing is identifying if there's 12 teenage boys in Montclair, New Jersey, flying Walmart drones. The military is not very good at identifying that and dealing with that. So, again, it's a deep breath moment. But you're right. The federal agency's got to be putting a lot more information out there about the nature of the problem, even if they don't know what any given specific blinking light over Asbury Park is this morning.
Well, to your point about information that is being put in the public domain, the White House held a briefing this week and appeared to make a series of false statements. Take a listen.
The analysis thus far in an investigation that is ongoing has not revealed any national security or malicious intent or criminal activity. There has been no evidence of any of this activity in or near restricted spaces.
We know that there were incursions in restricted spaces. They later had to walk that back. Military officials confirmed this week on the record at Picatinny Arsenal and Naval Weapons Station Earl in New Jersey, plus Langley Air Force Base last year and the nuclear test site in Nevada before that. And in Europe, the military also confirmed incursions at 4 U.S. bases in the UK last month and Ramstein in Germany last week. There also appears to be evidence of criminal activity because these drones are not operating on the FAA system as required by law. They're functioning on an undetectable frequency, we're told by investigators. Do you think that this mixed messaging invites a credibility crisis for the government that could have a real impact on the American people?
Well, I mean, what I heard Kirby say in that clip was that there was no evidence that what's been reported in New Jersey was contrary to the law or designed to observe a military base. That doesn't mean, by the way, and don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that drones can't be enormously dangerous, right? And there have been case after case of people flying drones into restricted airspace. You know, one of those things gets sucked into a jet engine of a plane on LaGuardia approach. That is a very, very serious thing. And yes, there have been cases. We don't know the full outlines because the cases haven't been tried of people who have flown drones over military bases, and we suspect that that may have been for observation. So yeah, look, 10 years ago, none of us ever had heard of a drone, and now it is a very powerful piece of technology that can be misused. I guess what I'm saying is, let's not jump immediately to Iranians, to Chinese, to Martians, and the government has a real responsibility to put more information out there so people better understand what the real dangers are.
This week, White House called on Congress to expand counter-drone authority. The New Jersey governor, Phil Murphy, wrote in a letter to the president, "It's become apparent that more resources are needed to fully understand what is behind this activity. This week, the FBI testified in a joint subcommittee hearing before Congress that the federal government alone cannot address unidentified aerial systems." Why is this Congress's problem to solve? Is it really possible that the federal government is not in a position to address a potential threat over the homeland? I mean, what would happen if one of these was carrying a weapons payload?
Yeah, Jackie, well, look, like everything else, it's a division of labor, right? It is absolutely the federal government's job to make sure that nobody is flying a drone over Edwards Air Force Base or the CIA headquarters in Virginia to do surveillance or worse, right? That's absolutely the federal government's responsibility. But look, I've got two 20-something daughters, right? Either one of them could walk into a Walmart, spend a little bit of money, get a drone, fly it next to somebody's window with a camera and start taking pictures of what's happening inside that house. Or worse, by the way, that's probably not going to be a Department of Homeland Security problem to solve. And so, look, we're all sort of dealing with this new technology, and we'll figure out what is the federal government's responsibility, what should be handled by the state police, and what should be handled by local forces. But yeah, look, this is a new technology, and it's going to present new challenges. And all I'm saying is we should be sober about it and not start worrying about Iranian motherships or the Martians landing, as New Jersey so famously had happened with the old Orson Welles thing of many, many decades ago.
So is there no concern in your mind that this could be potentially a Pearl Harbor moment, like with the Japanese submarines surveilling in the waters off Hawaii in the months leading up to the attack? Do you really have no concern this might be a state actor preparing for some kind of an event in the future?
No, it's not. And frankly, Jackie, we shouldn't. Look, our adversaries that would wish us harm, have billion-dollar satellites over our heads right now that are capable of, doing what we do to them, which is observing. You know what they're not going to do? They're not going to put technology over Newark, New Jersey that could fall out of the sky and we would capture it. Believe me, it was not happy for the Chinese when we got their spy balloon. So no, I really don't. I mean, there's lots of things to worry about. Don't get me wrong. And we worry about Iran. We worry about China, but no, they are not going to launch an attack on Pearl Harbor that is preceded by drones. Now, does that mean that they're not going to use it to try to spy on our sensitive facilities? Of course they might, but no, this is not the predecessor for an attack on the American homeland. I can promise you that.
Well, I hope that people can take some solace in your confidence there, Congressman, because it's been a wild week or so, and it's been going on for several weeks now. So thank you so much for being here. Congressman Jim Himes, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.